Hello everyone. Last time we have done buffer solutions and solubility equilibria. So the last portion of this chapter is left now. Today we'll complete that. So we'll move on with our new topic. So to understand relationship between solubility and solubility product, first we have to understand what is solubility. We always come across this word soluble or dissolves. Okay, so when we say something dissolves in water, that means we can say that that compound is soluble in water, right? Salt in water, sugar in water, we say. Today we'll understand the exact definition of solubility. So what is solubility? Solubility of a compound is the amount in grams that dissolves per unit volume. Now per unit volume means we have to define volume will be in 1000 ml or 1 liter of its saturated solution. Please understand, it is not 100 ml, it should be 1000 ml or 1 liter of its saturated solution. Now once you understand what is solubility, that is simple, gram per liter is referred as solubility. Now if you want to understand what do you mean by molar solubility, whenever we hear the word molar, that means what? Moles should come there in the definition. Whenever it is molar something, that means we have to think about the number of moles there. That means over here the unit will be what? Mole per liter instead of gram per liter. So the definition will be what? The number of moles of a compound that dissolve to give 1 liter of saturated solution is called molar solubility. Hopefully you understood what is the difference between solubility and molar solubility. In solubility, it is you have to understand about what? Grams in liter. Okay, and in molar solubility it will be number of moles in liter of solution. Okay, now we learn the relationship between solubility and solubility product. Now as a definition of molar solubility, we can say that molar solubility is nothing but equal to solubility in gram per liter upon molar mass in gram per mole. So we can say simply it is nothing but solubility upon molar mass. That will give me what? Molar solubility. Okay, so to learn the solubility and solubility product, that means the relationship between both the things, first we have to consider the solubility equilibrium that we have learnt in the previous class. Okay, so the solubility equilibrium, for example, if say the sparingly soluble salt is BXAY, it is given as what? X moles of B raised to Y plus Y moles of A raised to X minus, where Y plus and X minus are the charges of their respective ions. Okay, now therefore the solubility product will be given by what? Ksp equal to the concentrations of the ions raised to its power, right? So in a balanced equation. Okay, so what will be the value for Ksp over here? Ksp will be equal to the concentration of By plus raised to X into the concentration of Ax minus raised to Y. So I can say that now if suppose S is the molar solubility of the compound. Okay, what I have to mention there, S, capital S is the molar solubility of the compound. Therefore the equilibrium concentrations of these ions, what are the ions? By plus and Ax minus, can be represented as what? The number of moles into the concentration, right? So what we can write? The concentration of By plus will be equal to X into S mole per liter, and the concentration of A X minus will be equal to Y into S mole per liter. So when we substitute this value in the KSP equation, it will become KSP is equal to X into S, the concentration of that, raised to the whole raised to X, into Y into S, the whole raised to Y. So therefore, after simplification, we will get X raised to X dot Y raised to Y dot S raised to X plus Y, applying the law of indices over here. So the equation which is mentioned as 3.29 is nothing but the relationship between solubility and solubility product. Okay, so solubility product is given by KSP and solubility is nothing but in terms of mole per liter, right? So therefore this is nothing but the relationship between solubility and solubility product. Now we'll see some of the examples based on this. Okay, so first example, for silver bromide, first we have to write down the reaction for that. Okay, so AgBr will dissociate into Ag plus plus Br minus, and we have to balance it. So over here Ag is 1 and Br is minus in the reactant side. Therefore in the product side it will be 1 mole of Ag plus 1 mole of Br minus. Therefore X will be equal to 1 and Y will be equal to 1 in this case. Therefore applying KSP, it will be KSP equal to, what is the formula for that thing? X into S raised to X, Y into S raised to Y. So over here X is 1, so it will be what? 1 into S raised to 1 into 1 into S raised to 1. So therefore it is S into S, that is nothing but equal to S raised to 2. Okay, so second example now, for lead iodide. Again first step is to write down its reaction. So PbI2 will dissociate into Pb2 plus plus 2I minus, right? So over here X is equal to 1, Y is equal to 2. So applying the formula, KSP equal to what? X into S raised to X, that is simply it will be X raised to X into Y raised to Y dot S raised to X plus Y. Therefore I can say 1 raised to 1 is what? 1. 2 raised to 2 is what? 4. S raised to X plus 1 means S raised to 1 plus 2. Therefore at the end, after solving, I will get 4 into S raised to 3. Now next, for aluminium hydroxide. Aluminium hydroxide, again it will dissociate into aluminium, that means Al3 plus plus, there are 3 molecules of OH, so it will be 3 OH minus. So X will be equal to 1 in this case and Y will be equal to 3. So by applying the formula, it will be X raised to X dot Y raised to Y dot S raised to X plus Y. So over here X is 1, so 1 raised to 1 is 1, 3 raised to 3, it will be what? 3 into 3 into 3, so it is 27. Okay, then S raised to X plus 1, X plus Y. So over here X is 1 and Y is 3, so S raised to 4. So after solving, I'll get the value as 27 S raised to 4 over here. Okay, now we have to understand how will the question frame in this case, right? So they can directly ask you to find out the relationship between molar solubility and solubility product for AgBr or say PbI2. So many such examples can be asked. Barium sulfate can be asked. So some of the examples are there. Please work out the examples, and any doubt please let me know. Okay, now we learn about the condition of precipitation. Before that, you might be knowing the word precipitation. Okay, now for example, when we do the halogen test, okay, if any of the ions are present, okay, like Cl or Br or I minus is present, so what happens when we add AgNO3 solution? This silver chloride or silver bromide or silver iodide will form a solid particle in that thing and will settle at the bottom. That is nothing but the literal meaning of precipitation, right? Now, to understand the condition of precipitation, first we have to know what do you mean by ionic product. We already know what is solubility product. So first we'll understand solubility product, and with slight changes in that we'll learn what do you mean by ionic product. Okay, so what is solubility product? In the saturated solution of a sparingly soluble salt, the product of equilibrium concentration. Okay, what is important? Equilibrium concentration of the constituent ions raised to the power equal to their respective coefficients in the balanced equilibrium expression at a given temperature is called solubility product. Now, understand, whenever we talk about solubility product, the salt whatever is there should be in equilibrium. Okay, so the concentration at equilibrium, simple, is referred to as solubility product. So the concentrations other than at equilibrium are said to be ionic product. So hopefully it is clear. Whenever we find a concentration at equilibrium, okay, then it is referred as solubility product. And other than equilibrium, like before arriving equilibrium or after the equilibrium, any of the concentration, if we say we find out the product, that is referred to as the ionic product. Okay, so hopefully you understood the difference in ionic product and solubility products. So now we'll see what do you mean by ionic product. So ionic product will be defined as, in the solution of a salt, the product of concentration of the constituent ions raised to the power equal to the respective coefficients in the balance expression at a given temperature is called ionic product. Please understand, when it was solubility product, it was sparingly soluble salt. So over here it is simply solution of salt, and instead of equilibrium concentration we are simply referring it as concentration. Okay, so the concentration term other than at equilibrium is said to be nothing but ionic product. Okay, now we learn the condition of precipitation. For here we compare the values of ionic product and KSP. Ionic product is referred as IP and solubility product we write it as KSP. Okay, so depending upon the values of both the things, we can say whether the solution is saturated, supersaturated or unsaturated. And if it is supersaturated, then we can say precipitation will occur. If it is unsaturated, the precipitation will not occur. Okay, so first one, when the value is equal, when IP is equal to KSP, the solution is said to be saturated and solubility equilibrium exists. That means that is a value of solubility equilibrium. Okay, so saturated solution, but there is no extra ion, so that it is getting supersaturated. Now when IP is greater than KSP, what will happen? The solution will be supersaturated. That means more number of ions are there in the solvent. Okay, therefore it will be referred as supersaturated solution. And what will happen? Precipitation of the compound will occur. Okay, and if IP is very less than KSP, okay, the value of IP is less than the value of equilibrium concentration, or I can say KSP, then the solution is said to be unsaturated and the precipitation will not occur at that time. Hopefully you understood. Now simple, just understand what do you mean by things. For example, if I have taken a salt in a quantity of water, in a fixed quantity of water, I have added little bit of salt and it is getting dissolved. That means it is soluble. It is not yet a saturated solution. Okay, now the point at which that by adding a little bit it becomes supersaturated, then it is said to be saturated solution. Now it is getting dissolved, so I can say that is an unsaturated solution. If by adding the salt, even after dissolving, if something is left behind at the bottom, that means some particles of salt are left behind at the bottom, then I can say that thing is nothing but the supersaturated solution, and there the precipitation occurs. Okay, so hopefully you understood now. So by knowing the values, we can easily understand whether precipitation will occur or not. Okay. Now we learn about common ion effect, the last topic in this chapter. Now, as the name suggests, what is common ion effect? We can say there should be one ion common, but between what? Right? So it is between the weak electrolyte and a strong electrolyte. Now, so for example, I can say I have taken a weak acid and its salt. Okay, so let's say the weak acid is CH3COOH and its salt is CH3COONA. So consider a solution of weak acid CH3COOH and its soluble ionic salt CH3COONA. So which is a weak electrolyte over here? CH3COOH. And which is a strong one? CH3COONA. Now we know what is a weak electrolyte and a strong electrolyte. Weak electrolytes are the one which dissociates partially, and strong electrolytes are the one which completely dissociates. So CH3COH, since it is a weak acid, it will dissociate partially. Therefore we can write down CH3COH double arrow, and it will dissociate into CH3COO minus plus H plus. And CH3COONA, since being a strong electrolyte, it will completely dissociate into CH3COO minus plus Na plus. Now, in this case, this same reaction we have seen in hydrolysis of salt. Right? Now, what happens over here? Here, when I add a strong electrolyte, what I am doing? I am adding a strong electrolyte in a weak electrolyte. What happens that time? More number of CH3COO minus ions are created. Now I am adding a strong electrolyte, that means in that more number of CH3COO minus is there as compared to the weak acid there. In the first reaction, CH3COO minus is created, but the number of ions will be less since it is partially dissociated. In the second reaction, there are more number of CH3COO minus generated since it is a strong electrolyte, therefore all the ions will be in a dissociated form. Now what happens when I add a common ion? Okay, now the concentration of CH3COO minus in the first reaction increases. Okay, as a result, the equilibrium now will be shifted in a reverse direction. Why it shifts? Because of the Le-Chatelier principle. Le-Chatelier principle states that whenever a stress is created in a system or a reaction, if it is the product side, the reaction will go in the backward direction. If it is in the reactant side, it will go in the forward direction. Over here, the stress is created in the product side. That means more number of CH3COO minus ions are there in the medium. Therefore, what will happen? To balance out, it will combine with H plus and form CH3COOH. Okay, so that means the common ion suppresses the ionization of a weak electrolyte. That is nothing but called as common ion effect. Hopefully you understood what you mean by common ion effect. One more example we'll see. Okay, if I am taking, instead of a weak acid, I have taken a weak base, for example. What is that weak base? NH4OH, and its salt is NH4Cl. So reaction you can write down, right? First reaction will be what? NH4OH dissociates partially as NH4 plus OH minus. Second reaction will be NH4Cl will completely dissociate into NH4 plus Cl minus. Which is a common ion? NH4 plus is a common ion. So the concentration of what will increase in the first reaction? NH4 plus will increase in the first reaction. As a result, the reaction will move towards the backward direction. Therefore, what will happen? The unionized NH4OH will be generated according to Le-Chatelier's principle, right? because the stress is created in the reactant side, so it has to balance out, therefore the reaction will move towards the backward direction. So now what is observed over here, why it is happening so? Because of the common ion effect. What does common ion do? Common ion suppresses the ionization of a weak electrolyte. Over here it is NH4OH in the second example. Okay, in the first example it was CH3COOH. So that is called as common ion effect. Now we'll see what it states, what it literally states. Okay, so common ion states that the ionization of a weak electrolyte is suppressed in the presence of a strong electrolyte containing an ion common to the weak electrolyte. Okay, so in the first case it suppresses the ionization of a weak electrolyte CH3COOH in the presence of a strong electrolyte, what? CH3COONA containing a common ion CH3COO minus. Okay, second case, second example, what will be the difference? The common ion effect states that the ionization of a weak electrolyte NH4OH is suppressed in the presence of a strong electrolyte NH4Cl containing an ion NH4 plus common to the weak electrolyte. Okay, hopefully you understood. Now we'll move on with some of the sums. Okay, before starting with the problems, we'll first see the formulas of this chapter. The first 5 formulas we have seen and we have solved the problems based on that. Today we'll solve problems based on the rest 4 formulae. Okay, so pH and pOH based on Henderson's formula is given, then molar solubility and KSP problems we'll be seeing today. First problem, calculate the pH of buffer solution containing 0.05 mole NaF, that is sodium fluoride, per liter and 0.015 mole HF per liter hydrofluoric acid. What is given? Ka is equal to 7.2 into 10 raised to minus 4 for HF. Okay, so first we'll understand what is given in the problem. So what is 0.05 mole NaF? NaF refers to salt. So the concentration of salt is given as 0.05 mole. Right? Now next is the concentration of acid given, HF. So it is 0.015 molar. And what is given? Ka, the value of Ka is given to be 7.2 into 10 raised to minus 4. Now we know which formula we'll be using over here. So Henderson's formula will be using pH is equal to pKa plus log to the base 10 concentration of salt upon concentration of acid. The concentration of salt is given, acid is given. Now they have given the value of Ka. We have to find pKa. So we know the formula pKa will be equal to negative log to the base 10 of Ka value. So by using that formula you can find first the Ka value, then substitute all the rest value, then you can directly find what is the pH of the solution. So this is the simple problem. Do solve it. I have given you the hint. Okay, so we'll see the next problem now. Second problem, calculate the pH of buffer solution composed of 0.1 molar weak base BOH and 0.2 molar of its salt Ba, and the value of Kb is given to be 1.8 into 10 raised to minus 5 for a weak base. Okay, now what is asked over here? pH is asked, but the value for weak base is given. So first we can find out pOH from the Henderson's equation, and then we can find out the pH by using the formula 14 minus pOH. pH equal to 14 minus pOH. So let's see what is given in this case. So what is 0.1 molar weak base? So that can be represented as concentration of base equal to 0.1 molar. concentration of salt is equal to 0.2 molar and Kb is equal to 1.8 into 10 raised to minus 5 is given. Okay. So the pOH for buffer solution is given as pOH equal to pKb plus log to the base 10 concentration of salt upon base. Now the Kb value is given in this problem. So first we will find out the value for pKb. So pKb is equal to minus log to the base 10 of Kb. So after solving, I will get the value as 4.7447. Please understand, whenever log is given in the formula, you don't have to find out the anti-log for that thing. Okay. For our simplification, when we are taking log, that time we have to take anti-log. Okay. Here log is given in the problem. Therefore, that means log is given in the formula. We don't have to take anti-log of that value. So, pKb is equal to what? 4.7447. Now, concentration of salt and base is given. We can directly substitute the value in the above equation, that is the Henderson's equation, and we can find out the value, and that value comes to be around 5.0457. So substituting this value in the pH formula, pH equal to 14 minus pOH, we'll get the value as what? 14 minus 5.0457, the value is equal to 8.9543. In the textbook there is a printing mistake. Please do correct it. The value should be 8.9543. Okay. Third problem. The solubility product of AgBr is 5.2 into 10 raised to minus 13. Calculate its solubility in mole dm raised to minus 3 and gram dm raised to minus 3. In bracket, what is given? Molar mass of AgBr is equal to 187.8 gram mole inverse. Now, what is solubility product over here? Solubility product is nothing but Ksp of silver bromide is equal to 5.2 into 10 raised to minus 13. Now, calculates its solubility in mole per dm cube. Dm raised to minus 3 is nothing but mole per liter, and gram dm raised to minus 3 is nothing but gram per liter. So, by the value of Ksp, we can find out the concentration in mole per liter. Once we know the concentration in mole per liter, that means molar solubility we know, we can find out gram per liter. That means we can find out the solubility. Okay. So, let's see. The solubility equilibrium of AgBr is given by AgBr dissociating into Ag plus plus Br minus, where x is equal to 1 and y equal to 1. So, the Ksp is nothing but equal to x raised to x dot y raised to y dot s raised to x plus y. By using that formula, we can find out the value for Ksp. Therefore, x raised to x is equal to 1, y raised to y is equal to 1, and s raised to 1 plus 1 equal to 2. So, therefore, Ksp equal to s square. So, s square is equal to Ksp. So, therefore, I can say s is equal to square root of Ksp. So, by substituting the value over here of Ksp, I can find out what is the value for s. So, I got the value of s. S is equal to 7.2 into 10 raised to minus 7 mole dm minus raised to minus 3. So, I got one value. Now, once I know this value, this is nothing but the molar solubility. I can find out solubility in gram per liter by using the formula. Solubility in gram dm raised to minus 3 is equal to molar solubility in mole dm raised to minus 3 into molar mass. Okay. So, that is equal to 7.2 into 10 raised to minus 7 into what is the molar mass given? 187.8. So, after solving this to value, I will get the value as 1.35 into 10 raised to minus 4 gram per liter or gram dm raised to minus 3. Last problem. A solution is prepared by mixing equal volumes of 0.1 molar magnesium chloride and 0.3 molar sodium chromate at 293 Kelvin. Would magnesium chromate precipitate out? Now what is given? Ksp of magnesium chromate at 293 Kelvin is given as 8.56 into 10 raised to minus 5. Now here it is asked whether magnesium chromate precipitates out. Okay, so whenever such kind of problem is asked, we have to find out IP. What is IP? Ionic product. Okay, then only we can say whether the solution will precipitate or not. Okay, we have learnt we have three conditions. If IP is equal to KSP, equilibrium thing, just saturated. Okay, when IP is less than KSP, that time what will happen? It is unsaturated solution. Okay, and when IP is greater than KSP, then it is supersaturated solution, and therefore it will precipitate out. Supersaturated solution means it precipitates out. Okay, so by comparing, once I know the value of IP, I can directly compare with KSP and tell whether it will precipitate or not. Okay, so first we'll begin with 0.1 molar is given. What is 0.1 molar? The concentration of magnesium chloride is given. Now what is mentioned over here? Equal volumes. So whenever it is mixing equal volumes of both the things, we have to divide by 2. The concentration should be divided by 2. Okay, sometimes volume will be given. That time we have to use the formula M1V1 equal to M2V2 and find out the concentration over there. Okay, so over here the concentration of Mg2 plus is given as 0.1. So divide by 2, it will be 0.05 mole per liter. Okay, it should be mole per liter. Concentration of C2O4 2 minus is equal to 0.3 upon 2 molar, that is equal to 0.15 mole per liter. Okay, now the ion which is formed, these ions would react to form what? Sparingly soluble salt, that is nothing but magnesium chromate. So I can write down how will that form? Magnesium reacting with the chromate ion, right? So Mg2 plus C2O4 2 minus reacting together will give me the salt, that is MgC2O4, which is nothing but magnesium chromate. Now I have to judge whether this can precipitate or not. So first I will find out the value of IP. IP is simple. It is a product of the ions. Okay, so concentration of Mg2 plus into the concentration of C2O4 2 minus, that is nothing but 0.05 into 0.15 will give me the value as 0.0075, that is equal to 7.5 into 10 raised to minus 3. So now I got the IP value as 7.5 into 10 raised to minus 3. Now what is given? KSP is given. KSP is nothing but 8.56 into 10 raised to minus 5. Which is greater? The value of IP is greater. 7.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 is greater than 8.56 into 10 raised to minus 5. Therefore, as ionic product is greater than KSP, precipitation will take place. Hopefully you understood. Okay, so next time we'll start with the next chapter, that is thermodynamics. Okay then, thank you.